You ready? Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the village board, Village of Roscoe, Tuesday, December 17th. Well, we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 3rd meeting? So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Oh, we forget. Always forget. We can't count the last one. All right, roll call.
Babcock,
Here. Here.
Fox,
Here.
Petty,
Here.
Wright,
Here.
Gustafson,
Here.
Malico's absent.
Never forget. Okay, approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes? So moved. Thank you.
Second.
Petty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Sima,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to make public comment? I'd like to invite you to have a seat. Comfortable? No? Okay. No public comment. Under the president's report, first, I just want to address hometown holiday. There are lots of thanks needed, and if you have an opportunity to come out and enjoy the rain and the cool temperatures, you were treated to a very nice event. Thank you to Trustee Wright and Village Administrator Joe Kerlinkus. We had vision and we had coordination of a multitude of facets to this event. And through the very laborious efforts and talents of Public Works, our town was decorated. It looked really fabulous. Through the efforts of the police department, people were safe even when and people apprehended when they tried to run the barricades and make it not so safe for other people. Oh, wait, I also wish to thank the people at United Methodist Church for kindly hosting all of the choral and a very popular snowball contest. And of course, the fire department was always ahead with games. And here at Village Hall, Santa was very much enjoyed. Village staff from Jenna to Ann to Janelle all helped to make this possible by giving out information, printing. And so it was the endeavor of lots of individuals that made a really nice event, even under the most adverse circumstances. So thanks to everyone, and next year it won't rain. Okay.
Christine came as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's down.
Here, I'm in Christine.
And Christine has it.
Yes, yes.
Christine from Public Works.
Yep.
Yes.
She also did a lot of work. I mean, I always
Yes.
forget that she's down there. but-
I know.
Yeah.
I even said that to her this
I
morning.
always-
I apologize. She get her little. Maybe inquire about that later. All right. Also under my report tonight, we have a very special evening where we are going to recognize several individuals for their continuing dedication and service to the Village of Roscoe. And we are so proud to have them as members of our staff. So I would like to call forward first Deputy Chief Tom Farrell. Can you imagine what this lad has had to put up with for 20 years? Thank you so much for staying with us and a job well done. We so appreciate you. So grateful. Thank you, and you're really lovely.
The police department side, we also are giving him something to recognize his 20 years of service. 20 years of service with the police department is a huge milestone. You're fully invested into the pension and you can actually retire at any
Easy
point.
now.
He still has a little. So, the village, not only it's just amount of years that Tom's given us, our deputy chief Farone, but being the deputy chief, I mean, he's worked his way through the ranks and the village is very lucky to have him. I'm very lucky to have him as my deputy chief. He does everything with operations and up and beyond that with administration. And the village is just very lucky to have him amongst their troops. So
And
appreciate you.
And what you don't know about him, he's also my ghostwriter.
Yeah.
He is very, 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 very talented in a number of ways. So I echo everything Chief has said, and
Thank you.
we look forward to another 20 years because you're having so much fun. You are not going to retire.
I know, those are my two little ones back there, so I got some time, yeah. So, thank you both very much, I appreciate it.
Trying to do photos at this time? You want to- Or
You wanna kick it to
during
next
the break?
ones?
Okay. I'd like to call Caleb Brown. Thank you so much. This young man always has a smile on his face, always. He's looking forward to retiring from the village of Roscoe, right?
Absolutely.
10 years of great service. We've really, what did you whisper?
Said not for a while. Right, so you're shaking, so.
We present this to you and thank you so much for your dedicated service and contributions that you've made to the village of Roscoe these 10 years. And your commitment to stay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll see you in
thank
10 more years.
All right. Say something a little bit about Sergeant Brown for the last 10 years, working his way up to sergeant. I mean, he has greatly shown his importance within the department. His importance as a sergeant and all my harebrained ideas, just as the village president said, when I bring him stuff, he just takes it with a smile and says, I'll get that done. So no matter what my harebrained idea might be, he gets done with it and it's always perfect all the way through. So congratulations. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We would like to honor our Director, Superintendent of Public Works. To Troy Taylor, the young man who says, "We can always do what I ask." He never says no, and he always smiles more now than he used to. We really appreciate everything that you do and the direction of your staff, and we're very, very proud that you decided to come to work for us. And 5 years, and we look forward to many more, many more. Yes. So thank you for everything that you do. And if Joe would like to, no?
All I can say, obviously, thank you for this year. I never did get like this. I don't have the other word for it.
Exemplary.
Just, I'd say, yeah, just thank you. You've grown so much this last year, taking over the department. I know you got to jump to the department 2 years ago. And you've just become really leading, great leader of that department down there. Your staff is wonderful. I know they all respect you. They all really, I have seen a lot of public works department throughout the years here. I think they're all very happy and very, probably the most respect I've seen in public works director. So thank you. You've grown a lot into that role and look forward to another few more, 3 more years, 5 more years, 10 more years.
And he is so charismatic with his department.
Yeah.
All of these individuals who choose, back to Saturday, in that miserable weather, all of these individuals were hustling and bustling and all had positive attitudes. And they enjoy putting the best foot forward for the village of Roscoe because
It comes from the top, definitely
Yes.
comes from the top.
So we appreciate everything that you've done here and administering a wonderful group. Thank you. you would like to take a few minutes, please, there are refreshments there, you have an opportunity to do some photos, and so we will reconvene because now we're. Okay, we're good to go? All right. Coming back again to regular session. Under the treasurer's report, cash report and bills. We have before you tonight expenditures totaling $495,414.97. Leaving in the pool checking account after those expenditures. $7,936,892.26. You see motor fuel cash balance down at the bottom. $1,722,456.55. And I'm sure next month we'll have some salt bills, right? So tonight, may I have a motion to pay the bills? So,
Second.
any questions about any item? Hearing none, I'll let you vote, please.
Right,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Betty,
Yes,
Becca.
yes,
thank you. Also in your box or in your shared documents, you have the year-to-date revenue and expenditures through November 30th. And if you take a look at that, Treasurer Olson has indicated we're at the 92% mark, indicates what there is and the percentage used. Any words or conclusions that you wish?
No, I mean, we got a month left, just we'll keep an eye on, there's some accounting adjustments that will have to be made that were made at the end of last year, that will reverse this year, that will adjust some of the payroll, like if you look at Joe's payroll, there's Scott's payroll that sits in there, but once I reverse the accrual at the end of the year, I do it once a year, there's about 10 grand of that will come back up.
There's a couple other spots.
There's a couple other things in there too.
When you see the, 200% or revenue or of estimated amounts, like I went through all of those actually.
Yeah.
Just to check on those. Some of those are from last year's that were.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Last year and then this year,
Yep.
there's some that were,
Yep.
across, some might need to be moved for the.
Yeah, there's some
Right now,
things,
So.
like I was just talking with him, there's some
Yeah.
things like miscellaneous expenses. I think Ian and I need to sit down and look at,
That's-
where's some of the stuff. we're
Yeah,
gonna do.
that's like, I was looking at the big ones on those miscellaneous where it's 1,000% of the budget.
Yeah,
That actually is the demolition of those
Yes.
properties that probably should be moved into, when the capital account has.
Yeah, it has that and it has the property.
It's in property taxes, yep, so we are looking at that, it's, yeah.
And maybe that Region 1 or North 5, that also fits into that. It seems like maybe 3 years might be.
I think it was just like the roll up, like at the end of last year, and we also did it this year, so.
And in this case, I broke it out by your actual function now, so. Where you budget by personnel, supplies, capital outlay, so I broke that out. Rather than just a category by department. So if you read it that way as well, looks each one of those.
Actually added a few more, but we'll have about that.
Yep.
It's like one more, maybe that in there.
It's gonna put you in the spot that in conclusion, we've not been spendthrifts.
No, I mean, you can probably tell that by page 7 under that, so.
One of these your feelings.
Yep.
Anyone have any questions? All right, moving on, item number 6. Since this was July,
No action.
there's no action. Item number 6, the approval of one Class B, no action since that. 9.
Let's probably have a different.
Oh, that's fine.
Right, moving on then to item number 7. May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2024-13, establishing the 2024 tax levy? And the approximate tax levy is $1,760,026. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Babcock,
William, are you there?
Yes.
Thank you. So, yes, to vote. How are you voting on this?
The tax levy.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I had it on mute, so.
Okay.
Petty,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Item number 8, may I have a motion to approve ordinance 2024-14, approving the abatement of the 2024 property tax levy for general obligation alternate bond series 2017. And you were told in your documents this was the PD bond. And good news is you paid off for 27, this one?
27 for this one.
Yes. So may I have a motion?
Second.
Simon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Item number 9, may I have a motion to approve ordinance 2024-15, approving abatement of the 2024 property tax levy for general obligation alternate bond series 2018. And this is the one, the original one that was for the this building and other infrastructure improvements back in 2008 and refinanced. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Petty,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Flock.
Yes.
Under new business, may I have a motion to suspend the rules and make item number 10 a final vote? This is a resolution approving an agreement with Ring Central for the purchase of phones and phone service and installation. The reason I'm asking you to suspend the rules is that we can begin saving money by switching over to this.
So moved.
Second.
Vote on suspending rules.
Babcock,
Yes.
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Petty.
Yes. May I have a motion then to approve resolution 2024-R54, approving an agreement with Ring Central for the purchase of phones, phone service and installation services. And you have
So
a new
moved.
doc.
Second.
No, it's a pretty detailed memo, so if there's any questions, feel free to ask, but
Can you just, for the public, since this is new, can you just say what the difference is?
Well, it was going to be what, a savings of $400 a month in just this service.
actually $800 a month.
$800.
Or we thought originally it was 400, but actually it's with both departments, so we'll save $800 a month. Right now, our, just really briefly, right now our phone system is quite old. And Public Works has a phone, maybe once every couple weeks, we have to go and physically unplug it from the back room here, plug it back in for them to actually have phone service. It's very hard to hear on it a lot of times, and it's even check voicemail or to do anything with it, it's very difficult for the call service provider to hear it. Ring Central is all cloud-based phone system, PBX system. We'll have phone numbers, so every staff member will have a direct dial number now. We also still will be using the same main numbers from the village and the police department, Public Works, still have the phone tree, but then often is the case, we'll have a direct dial number of people who call us. A little easier for people to get a hold of us and talk to us. Additionally, we also have an app that we will be able to use on our phones. So everyone will have one phone number essentially. That will be the village phone number. So whether you're on your cell phone, at your desk, your computer, wherever else you are, you'll have that one phone number you'll be able to contact through. Which I think is gonna be very, very helpful, I know, for all of us. And for, I think, for the public as well. So, yeah, and it saves money. So we did go up for bid on this. We were their government rate is very, very good. So we have the government rate on that and, based on our reviews of everything, we will give a roll out shortly. This was budgeted in this year's budget.
Okay, so we have a motion in a second.
Babcock,
Yes.
yes, Clock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Under questions and reports, tonight we're going to hear from Attorney Green, and he's going to bring us up to date on conversations he's had with state lines.
I might set stuff down. Yes, so I met with the administration, met with Mayor Joe and with Trustee Wright. To talk a little bit about the park use agreement, Swanson Park. And some questions about operation there, how things are going there. The consensus I got out of it was that there's a great public benefit to what happens there, but there's some concern about the way it's operating. And so we want to maybe tweak the agreement a bit, clean up the agreement a bit, get a little bit better structure on how it's renewed and how the use fee is paid. So with that discussion, I set a meeting with Dennis McKinney. About 2 weeks ago, I met with Dennis McKinney and Matt McKay, who is currently a board member for the not-for-profit. So the use agreement is with State Line Fast Pitch Softball, which is an NFP, not-for-profit corporation in the state of Illinois. It does appear that they have, I don't know if officially or unofficially signed it, kind of subcontracted a lot of the operation of that park out to State Line Sport Group, which has crossover ownership, but is a for-profit entity. That raises questions about public property being used and money being made on a for-profit corporation on a public property. So they came in and honestly, we had what was a pretty decent meeting, candid discussion. I expressed some concern about the fact that our agreement provides for the exclusive use of the park by State Line Fast Pitch Softball, a not-for-profit, but the operation appears to be primarily by another entity, and we'd like to either amend the agreement to provide for that relationship and then understand the finance of it, or move back into a situation where the operation of the park is being conducted by the not-for-profit. I prefer the latter because I don't want to run the risk of the assessor saying your public property is being used to make money by a for-profit corporation, so we're going to impose property tax, which I've seen done before. Through the conversation, by the end of the conversation, they volunteered the concept of we'll pull State Line Sport Group out and we'll operate it exclusively by State Line Fast Pitch Softball, the not-for-profit. I indicated, one, I want to modify the agreement slightly to regulate how you do your annual renewals. Like we send you an email saying it's time to annually renew. Are you? And they respond, and then we take it through the process. There's no waiting to see if we're going to do anything. And same with the payment of the use fee. We send you a bill, in January of each year, and you pay it by March 1 of each year. Because I saw in the history that sometimes the payment was made in May, and sometimes the payment was made in December. It was easy to lose track. And so if we square up the process, we can get a little control. I did talk to them about the fact that the use fee had been the same for a long time. And they knew what was coming, and I suggested a significant alteration in the use fee. Honestly, I did not perceive much bristling in that. I suggested a doubling of it. I said I don't have authority to commit absolutely to that, but I'm suggesting that. They didn't seem to push back on that. So by the end of the meeting, it was, well, let me take this discussion back to the administration, back to the board. Make sure everybody's okay with the concept. I know who their accountant is. I know who their lawyer is. I said, even with the not-for-profit, it's appropriate for us to see your financials. Okay, how much money comes in? Who do you pay? What are the salaries? You gotta pay the grounds crew, you gotta pay the umpires, you gotta pay somebody to operate the park. That's all fine. But as long as it's all done within the context of a not-for-profit and you don't make, you can have carryover operating money, but you can't be paying it out as a profit to a private owner. So, I spoke with them yesterday. They knew I was coming to, I didn't tell them I was coming to tonight's meeting. But I said I'd run it by the administration and the board and then get back to them. I do have the sense from everybody I've spoken with about this that there is an appreciation of the value that's brought to the community by what happens at that facility, and would be ashamed to not have that continue. They appear to have a strong desire to continue to operate. They'll modify to meet our new parameters. My next steps, subject to the mayor's approval, is to tweak the agreement. I'm not going to rewrite it. I'm going to tweak, tighten it, kind of put in some additional reporting requirements, put in some more specific references to how they renew every year. If you recall, it's a 1 year, every year they renew for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of odd, but it also gives them, if we ever say no, then they have 2 more years to kind of run out and find a new facility. So there's some sense to that. I don't know that I would change that. And it's a fairly well-written agreement at its core in the first place. With time, we see that there are some things that could be tightened. So my next steps would be to tighten up the agreement, send it out to them and say, take a look at this, show it to your accountant, show it to your, let us know it's going to be okay. That I'm happy to answer a few questions.
Questions?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. We want to have statewide baseball. I think it's good for the community. It's good for them. I think the issue we've always had, if they truly are not-for-profit, is transparency. The issue of transparency and having a user fee that is not just arbitrary. That should be based on, I think it's not-for-profit, aren't they required to show us their financials?
Yeah, they file a tax form every year, and I looked at it, but it's not great detail in it. I might want to see their their financial report, their accountant prepares for the filing of their tax return as opposed to the ones.
Have they provided that to the state of Illinois on a regular basis?
I believe they have, Joe, we have copies of years past, but it was fairly minimal because I think they it's subcontracted the real operation out to the for-profit. And so there was a discount. You're absolutely right. There was a discount. Of the money.
So I guess my question would be, can we get them to provide that and set the user fee accordingly? Because I think otherwise I've always said that, if it works in our favor, it shouldn't work in our favor. It shouldn't work in their favor. It's a non-for-profit. But if we can set a user fee that's based on kind of their income is their, that income is whatever, it's maybe 10% of that, or at least give you some idea of what it is, as opposed to just having I guess we could put a user fee on it, but to me, it's just about providing that so we know what money's coming in, what money's going out.
We might want to have a year where we look at those financials, where we set a user fee at a level and then evaluate it the year end based on the financials. Certainly, significant upgrades have occurred to the facility that they have provided. So if they walk, if the relationship were to end, the village would be left with a very nice facility. It's not like they can take the facility with them.
We don't want them to leave, I guess.
Oh, no,
obviously, and we.
But my point is, they paid to do much of that. Now, we have a relationship where we would fix the lighting, that we would fix the ballast, we would
Yeah.
make sure it operate, they put the light bulbs in.
Yeah.
You know, they did some upgrades, I understand, to the concession. I don't know about stands, whether, I don't.
We paid for the new HVAC system.
I didn't get into specifics, they might have done some more cosmetic upgrades as opposed to.
If we go back to our premise, our agreement that this is a valuable organization, I think it would be unfair to say to them, we're going to change the rate each year because they're just going to be passing that on to the families that operate here. And it doesn't give them the opportunity to do the type of planning. So in a business world, it would be great where you can look at the financials in a timely fashion and set a rate prior to the beginning of the season. But they begin their signing up and all of that kind of stuff months in advance. So the question before you now is, do you think, and again, it's arbitrary, that doubling to what, $7,000 would be reasonable for this year and each subsequent year? Or we could also build into the language, having the amount fixed the first and second year, and then look at it for the third year. But you'd have to make a decision as to, you know, escalator clause or what have you. So back to what you said, it's kind of difficult to say, hey, give us your financials in the next couple of months so that we can make a decision here as to how much we want to charge you. And then have this agreement in place by the time they throw out the first pitch this spring. So,
I would suggest we pick a number, at
Right.
least initially.
right,
And then
so
as we see the financials over time, we can.
we get.
How soon can we see those in a reasonable ask?
Well, it sounds like.
Honestly, I had
Not
anticipated,
gonna have the right financials anyway, so.
Last year.
yeah, I had
I
it,
wonder.
We
I
may
had
need to keep the rate the same for the first year, in my opinion. Get it next year when they actually have a financial report.
I have to admit, I had anticipated that we get this kind of refocused on the not-for-profit, they run a year, and at the end of a year, we'll see what the financials are for 2025.
Okay.
And
I don't know, we're probably not gonna get it from. the private.
I don't think it's unreasonable to go ahead and double the fee, because it's been low or it's been at that rate for 10 years, 15 years, some significant number of years. And you're right, in the end, it might mean they tweak the entry fee to some tournaments such they can absorb that 3,500, but there are, I mean, they said there are tournaments where entry fees are waived, they don't even have entry fees, there are others that are. Yes. Yes.
They do. They do. They do have entry.
Oh, no, he didn't say they never have entry fees. He said there are some tournaments without entry fees, some there are.
I would like to see if they are a complete nonprofit, that there are no entry fees. To get into the park.
Not into the tournament, he's talking about. into the-
Yeah, well, I
I
know.
was talking about tournament teams paying an
I-
entry fee to get
yeah.
in to cover costs of the umpires and.
Been the games over there and they don't have anybody sitting at the gate taking.
But when I've been there, they have.
Maybe it's a donation thing, I don't.
You buy a family pass for
Nobody,
$20 a
nobody
year.
has ever told me you need to pay me to come in. Or
Well, I'd appreciate it if you'd ask that. I've seen grandma and grandpa
But I
show up
agree, they should be sitting. Saying, hey, it's the talk.
with a adding machine.
So going back to that which was laid out, again, in the next year, of the year, doubling the rent to 7,000, 7,500 or 8, pick the number. And
It's 35 now, so
Okay.
whatever.
you did pitch a number to them, did you not?
I suggested to them doubling the 35,
All right,
but and
I would
I
go with
didn't,
that.
I said I don't have authority to lock in because
okay, well, you know, a suggestion is something that
Yes.
someone takes
I
on as
was,
a
I
promise.
was testing the waters.
Yeah,
No,
so you didn't get pushback
I'm
at
good with that.
7,000.
And
now,
the
and then-
next step would be for me to tweak the agreement and get it over to you guys.
Right.
Get it to Joe, get it to-
Right,
yeah,
but
then
we're
you're
giving
saying it's being a non, pushing nonprofit without the profit and profit entity, keeping it clean. And then as a nonprofit, they're gonna be required to report their revenues to the state, 100%. There's none of this. This is this entity, that's that entity. So moving forward, we should have what their gross and what their net is.
We should.
And I'm just curious, not that it's part of the language, but how they are going to run the baseball program are eliminating the involvement of state line sports group. But I know that's their problem.
They seem to embrace that with some, yeah, we could do that. That won't be a problem. See how the numbers work.
Anything else? And then I got probably about clarification as to additional charges that they levy for tournaments. Meeting those. Possible. Maybe they do it on an escalating scale.
Well, and maybe I can ask them a more general, I mean, you're not for profit or whatever you were, and you have to have a business model. I mean,
Right.
you have to have enough money to mow the grass, pay everybody who works there, pay the basic bills. What's your business model? What's your revenue?
That's all we want. It's all we want, right? Yes, I think it's just transparency is if you're not for profit, you're required to do it. And if you take the for-profit entity out of this, and you're dealing with a village, right, a public entity. It should be public entity to nonprofit. That's the way it should be.
Guess I'd like to see their process to get to that $7,000 mark before we say $7,000.
I mean, as in doubling the fees.
Right, yeah,
And
are they going to, okay, now it's, instead of $200 per family, it's gonna be $600 per family. It's
I mean, I certainly understand your concern, but I think their season, their volume, you would see as opposed to 100% increase, more like a 2% or a 4%. And things like that to cover those costs. That's just my guess.
But it all trickles down to the families, is what I'm getting at. A lot of them are,
Technically, it's not for profit, so it shouldn't.
But they
they have to
they
have
have
money
to cover
to
their
pay the
operations.
bills.
True.
But there has not
It's
been
going
any
to
pay
trickles
raise.
down to whoever pays the bills.
There's been no raise
There's
in
no
rates at all.
But
for
now
this
that-
time. So I think by doing that, I mean, it's inflation. I mean, look at what we all have dealt with, right? So I mean, it's not like,
But now that they're taking over the entire thing, they can run the concessions, and that will be a source of revenue too.
Well, and
Because
I
they,
still think
for
it's-
profit organization, can run the concessions, I understand.
I do not recall that, but
They run
Well,
the concessions.
we'll cover that. It's certainly still a funnel for state line sport group, right? I mean, they have a facility somewhere else, indoor, winter, or whatever, they do training, various other things, so.
Don't they have one in Machesney Park? That's
They do,
Or-
north
Where's
Just
Road?
north of Target, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, sorry.
Yep.
There is one, just. I think they came in through a parking lot.
There you go.
expansion or something.
Yep.
So I was at that meeting.
Well, back to the business model and clarification as to who is going to have ownership and operation of the concessions. So that's also a source of revenue. And if they're taking it all over, also there was the revenue from signage.
Sponsors.
So it's all that going to be shifted to state line fast.
The concept we talked about was one at state line fast pitch sounds fun.
and all that is reported, needs to be reported. If it's truly a not-for-profit, it needs to be reported. It's transparency sunshine. And we should be able to have that and see that. We shouldn't even have to ask. We should be able to just look at the state website and get that information, shouldn't we? If
They
they're
have what
truly
they
not-
file with the state, but I would guess their accountant probably prepares a more robust financial statement for them, so why not see that? Why not see it all?
Anything else?
All right, thank you.
I appreciate you really good deep
Thank you.
dive on this, because it's been a hot topic, very emotional topic for some.
Yeah.
Just only getting bits and pieces of information while we're looking into it, but I really understand now that the time is coming.
I appreciate it. Joe told me what, it said, see what you can figure out. So,
Yeah, that's good.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And, questions and reports, was there anything that you'd like to summarize, Brandon?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna talk about capital projects in the next meeting.
Right, yeah. Roy? No, okay, thank you. No need for an executive session. Okay.
I will report, I just wanted to address the one more tiny thing. So we are, Sydney has put together a funding
Oh, I
and
forgot.
implementation playbook. I know that came up, I think, trustee Simon requested some great action, and trustee White is right as well about that. So he is putting that together, that will go over the whole step-by-step procedure of where we're going to get this into place, get Main Street into place. It will include, RFP, it's gonna include funding sources, so the process for either looking at TIFs or business district on that. And then also the developer engagement portion, and how, he plans on handling developer engagements, getting people to go into that property and use our properties for that. I guess less, and then also the zoning process as well. So we're in the middle of the zoning process right now, as everybody knows. So that will go first. But this, get my notes here, the funding and implementation playbook will come out shortly here. And I'll provide that with you, which will give you all the step-by-step of how we're gonna do it, including with the checklist, which President Justin asked for. So we can check off as we go through it, so you know exactly where we are in the process and the timing on where we are in the process of developing the Main Street properties. So let me make sure I got that update for you.
I forgot about. So we are, our place boundary is listing the tasks
Yep.
that have to be accomplished as part of this process. And these do take a great deal of time. And the first thing is, again, the zoning. We will have a public hearing, rezoning or the zoning overlay. That's the place to begin. And then secondly is examination of economic development tools. So there are all of these components that need to be in place because they are going to be part of the request for proposal. So there is a logical sequence of steps and there is a timeline by which these can be accomplished. So this is going to be laid out before you and presented when.
So is the timeline still January for an RFP to go out?
No, that's not going to be able, that's not going to be possible because, again, the zoning overlay has to happen first. And the public hearing on that will be in January. Then there will be the exploration of the economic development tools. If we are going to form a business district or if we're going to develop a TIF or something of that nature. So you need to do a survey and figure out what's possible so that once those are in place, then they are part of that request for proposal. And those developers who are interested know the parameters under which we seek to have something in that space, because all of us recognize we have one opportunity to get this done right and to define or make a showcase of what we want this to be. But the zoning is critical as well as I said, economic incentives.
So do we have an estimate of when we would get to the stage to an RFP? I mean, can they at least tell us that?
I'm sure once he lays out the playbook and we see the sequence by which these happen, my best guess would be several months. If the zoning overlay is January, and many of these things can happen simultaneously, like developing economic tools. So it will be months. It's hard right now, so let's give him a chance to put together the playbook, which he is going to have in place. I think he said in January.
I thought it was the 17th. I don't know why it sticks in my mind.
That may be the date of the public hearing of the zoning. And so then this playbook should be following that, as we discussed.
Started this whole project just about a year ago.
Right.
So and we've been flying through all of this and we continue to move forward through all of it, but yeah, we're just gonna follow the sequence and hired professionals for a reason. And so we'll take his advice on that, I think. So you can override everything, but this way we can at least, I could figure something one shot to make sure that our property is developed and just that we do this right all the way through, so. Rather than just try to.
So, give us 3 to 4 weeks, January, third, fourth week of January, that playbook should be done with steps and the timeline. That, then you'll have a better answer as to when that RFP can go on.
One thing that might have been under old business, first meeting in January, there was an email that went out to possibly move it or cancel it altogether, so that staff has more time to get all the different stuff together for us, the second.
Yeah, we should put it out too.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I would like to, of course, you're free to disagree. I'd like to have a meeting January 14th. And that one devoted largely to financials, which you're going to be discussing in committee of the whole coming up. So that we can just, again, reserve one meeting where everyone is focused on that. There may be a few incidental things that come up. And then a regular meeting the week thereafter. So we will have 2 meetings in January, but we've delayed, looking at financials sometimes, so I would like to have a focus on that.
So give us dates.
First, January 14th.
So the 7th would be canceled.
Right.
I won't be able
Even Zoom.
to.
Then the 21st.
Okay, to just do the one meeting in January, is it okay with that?
I'm not.
Get an extra week. Put things together.
I could give it some, I could stay with the same schedule. It's just, I just can't do it.
The only thing with the 7th, they're not really gonna have anything for us for the budgeting, so it's gonna be basically nothing on the agenda, except bills.
And if we do just the one on the 21st, as we have done in the past, you give permission to pay the bills as needed, as if we would meet that first time. So what are your wishes?
I don't know why we can't have a free meeting on the 7th. I mean, I know there's other things we could discuss outside of the budget, isn't there? We were talking about.
Let's getting the agenda out.
If you like, I mean, it's preparing anything, right?
All the
We've
materials.
got 2 days. With 1 day, we've got holidays, we've got 2 more days, because
Yeah.
we put this together, it's a lot of work for all of us to
Right.
get all the documents.
And frankly, a lot of people are looking at unused vacation and it's use it or lose it. And a lot of people are taking that time off at the end of the month. And so it becomes a burden getting together all the documents in time for that first meeting. So it's been traditional that crunch with New Year's that we give another week.
But I just think we just keep the same cadence and do the 21st then.
Or we go with 14th, and you would be the person who wouldn't be able to attend, but I'm not hearing that anybody else can't make the 14th.
21st.
Just the 21st.
Well, if we can't get anything done, but it sounds like it's too tough to get stuff done.
By the 7th, but not by the 14th. Because there's a whole week.
If we're gonna be talking about budget, then we need to.
What about the 14th and the 21st?
I'd rather have somebody here to make it, if he can't make it, that's the problem. That way everybody can get the budget all at the same time. At least the people sitting in the room can do the 21st, like you.
And we're scheduled to do it
William?
anyways, so.
Yeah. Or
So the
normal.
21st. All right.
I made my.
William's still here.
It's done.
I'm available either day.
Okay. All right.
So, and we'll have one meeting.
All right, if we have one meeting on the 21st, it's gonna be a long one.
So we can't get much more prepared for anything on the 7th.
It's a burden.
We have 5 working days between now and
No.
the 7th, so I would prefer not to do it on the 7th. I respectfully request that we do it on
Okay,
either
but-
next week after that or just 21st.
All right, so we're eliminating the seventh. We're going to not do the 14th because one person not be able to attend. So we'll kick the can down the road and everybody will be here on the 21st and it will be a long meeting. How about a half hour early?
Well, let me ask a question, Carol.
Yes.
If it sounds like the 14th is necessary to prayer and
Pardon me, I
Mike?
start again.
you can't do the 7th, I got that. But Joe's preferring that we do the 14th and the 21st, and only Mike Simon would not be here for the 14th, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Is there
That's
any
correct.
way Mike could get caught up with our meeting on the 14th prior to so that we could make some progress between the 14th and the 21st? Is that is that a possibility, Mike?
You know, here's the thing.
No.
I'm an
Go
elected,
ahead,
I'm an
Nancy.
elected official. We have a schedule for the 7th and the 21st. I blocked this, a meeting on the 14th, for me calling out of the country, and I can't make it. I would like to be able to attend the meeting as scheduled. So it's not just.
I'm
one
okay
person.
with giving you the extra time for not only the budget, but also the place founder stuff. You guys got a lot going on. You're gonna have 3 days working, next week, 3 days a week after that only working. That's if everybody's here. I agree. Giving you an extra week to just go to the 21st. Everybody can be here for the first draft of the budget. Time, half hour early. I'm okay with slightly early, is that?
And we do expect to have a public hearing for Place Foundry in January.
It would be the
Yes,
Friday
the zoning.
before if it's the 17th, you're saying.
Yeah, I got some.
What time? 6?
All right, is that all right with everyone, 6 o'clock on the 21st?
Oh, sure.
Next meeting then, January 21 at 6 o'clock.
Do you make a motion for you pay the bills or this meeting being changed?
The official announcement here. Fine, you can vote on it if you want to vote on it, but otherwise we'll just post it.
Perfect.
I think we should find, and we should. I think it's okay. We'll approve them on this.
So only one building cycle in January.
For approval cycle.
You send a reminder.
All right, anything else? Is there a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rolling on to committee of the whole.